Okay, I'm going to entertain one more international question, and then I'm going to move to a series of questions from U.S. institutions. Before I do that, let me just mention that some people are growing very impatient because they have questions and they're sending me hate mail. Save your ink. I will try to entertain all questions before we're done, but to the degree that we don't get to them, I will, as I always do, forward those questions to Mr. LaRouche. And that includes the gentleman who claims that he's a direct descendant of Hegel and Genghis Khan. I'm serious. And I should tell him that he would have had a better chance of me asking his question if he didn't tell me that, because he scared me. The next question, and the last international question for this segment, comes from His Excellency Syed Hassani, who is the former ambassador from Pakistan. And he says, Mr. LaRouche, being a statesman of vision, you have the unique ability to present ideas in a historical perspective. My question to you relates to the advice you would give President Obama about the dangers of getting involved further in Afghanistan. He began his presidency with moves to implement the withdrawal from Iraq, but there is some fear that he will next move to relocate 40,000 men to Afghanistan in an effort to deal with the threat of terrorism and al-Qaeda. The NATO commander is reported to have said that a military solution in this region would not work, advising the president instead to resort to negotiations with the Taliban, currently being attempted by President Karzai. Besides this, the hot pursuit of Osama bin Laden may very well involve a violation of Pakistan's territorial sovereignty, engulfing Pakistan in war. Given this scenario, would it not be wiser to solve the Afghan imbroglio diplomatically through the traditional tribal Yerga system, which is local convention, instead of attempting a military solution that could result in a second Vietnam?
Well, I am sympathetic to the question in some respects, but I don't think it implies a solution. I don't think that the United States troops should be involved at all in Afghanistan at this time. That I agree with. It's foolish. You have to look at what the problem is. The problem is when a farmer in that region of Afghanistan or neighboring regions harvests a crop of opium, the crop may be priced at some hundreds of dollars, $600, $700. When that crop reaches Europe, its price is $6 million, or the United States, similarly, $6 million. Now, the problem is, then you go to a very specific gentleman you want to talk about, George Soros. George Soros, remember who he is. At the age of 17, he was a young Jewish boy, Hungarian provenance, who saved his life by adopting a non-Jewish identity and doing work for the Nazis on the Jewish question. He was an instrument in what Hecht described as perfidy. This was a deal which the Nazis proposed, that for so many trucks given to the Nazi system from the British Americans, that so many Jews would live. And if the trucks didn't come, they would kill that number of Jews. And they assembled Jews, or people who were not necessarily Jewish by their own inclination, but who had Jewish ancestry. You know, 1/4 Jewish, partly Jewish, so forth, from all parts of the Balkan region. And they herded them up, put them in camps, stripped them of their wealth, so forth, the whole procedure. And he was the messenger boy who would send the message, hey, here's your ticket for the train. And he did this. He's a part of perfidy. Now, he doesn't do that today exactly, but that's his character. And because of this character, he adopted this kind of character. You know, a person who would do that is a degenerate. I don't care how they became a degenerate, they're a degenerate. He defends it. He defended it publicly, repeatedly in recent years, in public broadcasts, and said it was an experience that did him good. Yes, and what does he do now? He's done many things. He's a British agent, works through the British Foreign Office, the Commonwealth Office, with Lord Malloch Brown. He's the biggest dope runner in the world. Huh? He runs the drug traffic out of Asia into Europe. He runs most of the drug traffic in Europe. He runs most of the drug traffic in South America. He runs the drug traffic from South America into the United States, notably from Mexico into the United States. Now, look at this problem. Is this problem of terrorism in Afghanistan a Saudi problem? Yes. Did the Saudis create it? Yes. How was it created by the Saudis? By the Wahhabi cult. When they used that to train people as fighters in Afghanistan against the Soviets. So out of that, all through the Arab world, this Wahhabi cult, run by the Saudi kingdom, which is a British agent, created this group of new-formed terrorists, Arab terrorists, including Osama bin Laden, including the Taliban organization, and created and used these and involved them in the drug traffic directly or indirectly. These forces are now being used. A section of them runs out of London under the protection of the Church of England, which took some of these terrorist agents of Arab origin. That does not suggest that the Arabs in London are terrorists. Some are, but most aren't. Most of them are just normal Arabs or Muslim believers in London. So what? It's not a problem. But some of these guys are actually terrorists. And how are they able to function? Because the Church of England declares them under protection as clergymen. Diplomatic protection as clergymen. So this organization in London is the organization which is part of, under British intelligence, through MI6 and formerly through the ISI in Pakistan, which ran the Mumbai terrorist operation recently in the south. And this organization is prepared to run terrorist operations in every part of the world. It's the most mobile, repeatable terrorist operation we have on hand. Now, the same thing applies to our border. Why is our American weapons going across the border by these funny little wagons, desert wagons, running in there, delivering weapons to the drug traffickers, including military-grade weapons to the drug traffickers in northern Mexico? And why are the drugs coming from northern Mexico or from various parts of South America through northern Mexico across the U.S. border? Why are the guards turning the other way and looking the other way when the drug shipments are coming across or when the weapon shipments are going down? And this is now a major terrorist threat to the United States. The problem here is the failure to take perfectly accessible modes of action to neutralize the transport of these goods, drugs and weapons. Putting troops into Afghanistan to protect the area or the Taliban area is simply creating more targets. Why do you want to send more targets of the drug terrorists into Afghanistan? Pull them out. You may want to protect the Karzai and the capital in order to maintain some integrity of that territory, but you don't want to put troops in there. That's not the cure. That's a diversion. What you want to do is shut down George Soros. and shut down everything like him. And if you don't do to shut down Soros, you're not serious. So what we're doing is, when you do play that kind of behavior, what you're doing is you're saying, let's play a game. We pretend we're chasing you, and you pretend you're chasing us. And we'll play the game. And we'll send some soldiers out to get killed in the crossfire. No U.S. troops put into Afghanistan except to ensure the security of the city, the capital city. Dry it out. No drugs leave Afghanistan. No drugs leave that area. Enforce it. And take sanctions against any nation that doesn't enforce it. Why get U.S. soldiers killed? We've lost too many already. We don't need to.